your riding, Cambridge is home to many of Canada's large manufacturing facilities, including some of our members. Given the abundance of industry in your riding, what's the importance of innovation and R&D to not only your riding but to the rest of Canada?
Well, that's a pretty good question these days. Innovation and the ability to be more innovative is vitally important. In my view, it's probably one of the most important things that the private sector can do in partnership with everything that the government is doing to encourage growth in this economy, in this new knowledge-based global economy. We do see companies in my riding who are actually moving to make better products, to find a way to make that product faster and perhaps lighter with less impact on the environment. They're looking for new ways to use an existing product or new markets for that product. That is innovation. That is being able to compete in this new global economy.
So what specifically would you say the federal government is doing to support investment in manufacturing processes and production?
Well, interestingly enough, we just had a study done. Tom Jenkins from OpenText in Waterloo helped us look at how we can in fact make our current suite of programs more effective in doing exactly what we feel needs to be done for the Canadian economy to grow. And one of the things that the panel found was there's actually some 60 different programs across 17 different departments. So the federal government seems to have a lot in place. And so what we're looking at now is how do we make those existing suite of programs better? Which of those programs are maybe not as effective and we can use the funding there into another program that is in fact more effective. But along with those things, we have in fact with the Canadian manufacturing sector, we've eliminated tariffs on imported equipment, machinery, manufacturing inputs. In fact, I have to tell you, we're the first in the G20 to do that. We now have a tariff-free zone for industrial manufacturers. We have some of the lowest corporate tax rates in the world here in Canada. And then there are support programs like the IRAP program, the Industrial Research Assistance Program, which we've doubled to encourage businesses, manufacturing and others to do more research, but also to develop the results of the research into commercialization and commercializable products. So we have things now in this latest budget, Economic Action Plan 2012, to help the venture capital market, to support these inventors in getting their products to market. We have expanded options within government procurement so that even smaller companies can take advantage of having a government as a customer to help grow them. And we've worked with CME. Another great example is a few years ago we supported the SMART program with CME, some $19 million to again help manufacturers access new markets, become more competitive on the global scale. And I think that program was quite exceptional. It helped well over 400 different manufacturers in this area. As well, we're looking at collaboration and partnerships, not just with government and industry, which we've just talked about, but we realize that one of the key things in R&D, research and development, is actually having the assets on site. A lot of our small and medium-sized enterprises don't have microscopes. They don't have PhDs and other types of skill sets within their factories or offices. But our universities and colleges do. We have some of the best universities and colleges on the planet. And so the government is encouraging businesses to look down the street, to look across to the other side of the community where a university does exist or a college does exist, and source them out for solutions to challenges. And we're helping to fund a number of initiatives to encourage that partnership, again to do research, but also to develop the results of that research into new products and processes that we can make here in Canada, creating great quality jobs, high-paying jobs. But when we sell them to the rest of the world, we do another great Canadian thing, and that is improve the quality of life, in some cases save lives of people all around the world. So we're looking at how science powers commerce and supporting all of that from the very basic discovery blue sky research, like quantum computing, in Waterloo, as you see, all the way through to the basic marketing potential and opening up new markets with our free trade deals that other ministers are responsible for.
Absolutely. And so why is it manufacturing as an industry that is one of those so critical to our economic well-being here in Canada?
Well, manufacturing has always been vital. It has been the engine, particularly here in Ontario, the engine that has driven our economic power. We have seen some significant challenges, particularly in this recent downturn, of great concern to Prime Minister Stephen Harper, and that's exactly why in 2009 we set up the Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario. First time in the history of the country. 5-year mandate, $1 billion, of which we've been able to develop programs. In the beginning of the agency, we developed programs that would simply create jobs. That's when the economy was facing the worst of the storm. But as things changed and improved a little bit, we modified and were quite nimble and flexible, and our programs then became more of longer-term jobs. So if we were going to pave something, we all know our streets got paved back in those days and lots of construction around it. We decided if we were going to pave anything in the second year, it would be an airport runway, for example. Longer-term economic potential in expanding an airport's options and opportunities. Today we're looking at moving graduate students and certain skill sets into the smaller businesses, as I mentioned earlier. We're looking at those entrepreneurs who have developed a product but can't seem to find anybody to help them to the next step, so we have a program for that. We have the Prosperity Initiative, which is very effective, and people seem to like that and apply for that. That's to help businesses become more efficient and more globally competitive. We even have the Investing in Business Innovation, which is really to help the venture capital angel investor market. So, and I could go on and on, but the FedDev has now designed its programs around increasing the economic potential of Southern Ontario, of course, but it's more longer-term prosperity, economic diversification of some of our communities that used to have just one factory, and all of those things to improve the market and support the manufacturing sector in taking the next step, which is, again, as I always say, to do research on the product that you're making and develop new ways to make it using new materials or composites and continually push that envelope. And that's something we always want to stress, that if you are in fact making the same thing you made 5 years ago, the same way you made it, with the same equipment, you're probably in trouble and you don't maybe know it. So the rest of the world is catching up, and we're seeing competitors from some of the underdeveloped countries that we would not have suspected years ago. The pace of technology is extremely fast. So it's vital that manufacturers, and they can, whether it's new software or a new line in the factory or new robotics or something, to make sure that you're constantly pushing that edge, upskilling your employees. We're working with colleges and universities to make sure you have the skill set. We are obviously making changes to our immigration policies to make sure, again, we have the skill sets that are necessary, and supporting that manufacturing sector so that, in fact, it returns to that power, that cycle of prosperity that we have come to count on in Ontario, which is not just a benefit to my riding in Cambridge, but it's a benefit to the province, all other provinces and territories in the nation as a whole.
Absolutely, and I know that some of FedDev's resources are absolutely things that our members rely on and appreciate it and take advantage of. So, is there anything else that you wanted to add?
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to get across the message that we all have done our studies, and it's not just one or two. There's a multitude of studies that suggest we have incredible capacity in Canada. We have the smartest group of workers, skilled workers around, but we still have areas we can improve on. We are the Canada's number one in the G7 in terms of supporting higher education, in terms of our percentage of our GDP, and I could go on. We're number one in terms of our rate of employment growth since the recession. We've got now 700 and something thousand net new jobs, far above pre-recession levels. Number one. This is great news. Where we're not number one is moving our ideas out of the laboratories, out of our minds, and improving what we do on the factory floor, improving what we do in our areas where people are employed, and then getting that knowledge and that technology, those new products and processes out to the global markets, which we have to do. And the competitors today, I say this all the time, are not the people on the other side of town. It's not the company down the street or in the next town. Because of the internet and new technologies, the competition is overseas and beyond our borders. And so what we often now see in Canada is a great thing, and maybe I'll just close with this, is I'm seeing more and more companies working together. Used to be competitors, but now they're working together as a team, understanding the global market. And as a team, they're competing with the rest of the world and doing very well at it. Cambridge is a good example of that. The Waterloo region is a good example of that. And we see examples across the country. So it's all about doing the research, developing something new that you can take to market. That's how we're going to grow our jobs. That's how we're going to grow prosperity. And that's how we're going to improve the quality of life for lots of folks.
And be the best, right?
Exactly right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks very much, Stephanie.